Hello everyone and welcome. Today we'll be taking a look at a highlight best-of-3 series of professional StarCraft 2. The first map of the day will be our favorite 3-player map in the pool, Last Fantasy. The upper left-ish corner of the map, it's the red Protoss Creator. And here, towards the bottom left, the blue command center SCVs of Bunny. A TVP to start things off on the new patch. Yes, balance information. All the changes have gone through well and done by this point in time. So hopefully we'll get to see a bit of the action, how all of that translates. Will we get to see the absurdly long but also slightly shorter than it was going to be duration of Storm? Will we get to see observers no longer cloaked in their surveillance mode? Possibly. Siege tanks no longer being pulled by Viper Abduct? Well, obviously, yes, but not here because there's no Zergs. Silly viewer, how could you? So far, though, I'll say nobody's really going at that absurd. We've got just standard setups. We won't know quite what's going to happen for the first little bit. The Protoss, I think, is probably going to be the more wild card in the matchup. We could see Bunny do something a bit unusual, like a proxy barracks, but as far as the changes of wanting to see things, what that's going to look like, we are going to have to wait a bit on what Creator wants to do, what Creator wants to create for his composition. We'll see the Cyber Core come up. Nexus is the choice. No tech choice has been made just quite yet. Standard option, I would say, would be the Twilight. Oh, not quite yet. We're going for a Stalker follow-up. No sentries. We're not going for anything related to sentries. No hallucination scouting is necessary just quite yet. Twilight is the choice. I see that production tab. Adept doing its best, trying to keep the Reaper slightly distracted, at least away from the probes. Speaking of probes, what are you doing? Why are we over here? No shenanigans whatsoever. Interesting choice. Actually going to complete the shade here. Adept going to cause a bit of problems for any SCVs wanting to work here. The depot's still raised. You cannot get into the base. We'll just be shading right on out. Not looking to get any major damage, as there not even any losses just quite yet. We're seeing the first upgrade from the Twilight will be Blink, Robo, follow-up. Okay, so this is going to be a little bit of a mid-game aggression type of play here. The Creator's going to, I'm going to say, get the Warp Prism from the Robo, whip out quite a few Stalkers, probably going to want to blink up into the main. That means we're not going to see anything like I was hoping regarding the Storm type of choices just quite yet. I'm going to take a few extra minutes, see what kind of damage Creator's able to get done. The Reaper, so far the first major loss, apparently got one probe for its trouble, but then gave its life for whatever scouting intel it was able to get. SimCity here. Now, Creator, I see that Prism coming up. Creator's probably going to want to come in one of these two areas. I'm going to go with either at the minerals or just above, which means this factory's going to be kind of exposed. Could have a bit of trouble. The Hellion finds the Adept Stalkers trying to get into position. This is just a 2-mine drop. Not nearly as deadly as the 4-mine drop, but also way better than the 1-mine drop. Can you imagine dropping 1 Widow Mine? Like, you'd do that just for more mental damage and suspicion factor. Like, really? Only 1 Widow Mine? Yeah, potentially. Bunny's not even going to drop it. Really. We're going to bring it back home. Creator is watching. Trying to get the Prism. That would be a massive boon. Great pickup to have. The Stalker's starting to move across. Blink is done. The Prism's going to set up into position here, able to give a bit of high ground vision, reinforcing warp-ins. Now, what's Bunny's defense going to be looking like here? Second tank is about halfway done. Sieged already up in the main base. Raven, auto turret might be helpful. The question is, will Creator be able to pick off the siege tank? Prism does take that first hit, not quite dead yet. Siege tank is in range to help somewhat protect these buildings. Creator may not feel confident enough to blink right on top of it. Second tank's gonna set up. Marines make a lovely front wall. As long as the siege tanks still stand, Bunny should be fine. The production structure's taking a little bit of damage, scratching the paint more than anything else. Double bunker at the front, quickly reduced to single bunker. Much more lonely than the double bunker combo. Stalkers getting a bit far behind here, I would say. Siege tanks are setting up now, gonna want to head out. First tank shot goes out. Stalker within a bare inch of its life. 1 hit point left on that Stalker. Creator not finding, I would say, the damage that he was probably hoping for. What's the follow-up? Going for a third Nexus. No additional tech coming up just yet. No additional gates. Just going to focus on the economy. And meanwhile, the tank's still doing rather well with the defense. Bunny's handling this well. I will say no panic involved. Stalker's blinking over to the far right here. Going to let the siege tanks continue to shell. Just trying to deny a bit of Vespine mining, it seems, more than anything else. Almost gets the Raven, not able to. Repairs going out. Raven will be safe. Creator is bleeding a lot of Stalkers at this point. A drop on the other side is going to take a few probes out with it, but I don't think it's going to get much else done. Plenty of zealots, plenty of defenses. Probes will be safe to continue their work. Recall to the main base going to force back some of the Stalkers, and that's going to give Bunny some probably much needed breathing room. Very welcome minute of safety here. The medevac, fine for now. No longer fine. Dropping them into the third base. Those Marines on their one-way trip to the bitter end will not find any salvation there. Creator, I'm a little worried about stopping this attack now. Stim done, shields done, +1 is done. We've got our triple threat plus concussive here. 3 siege tanks plus the Raven. This is a scary attack, actually. Bunny has been using his time rather well. Locked behind the natural door, Bunny's created a, albeit 2-base all-in kind of army here. Siege tanks setting up. They will be able to get their shots up. I don't think there's even enough Stalkers to really contest them. Marauders trying their best to keep things a bit safe. The Zealots get on top of the tanks, but Creator not actually wanting to fool with it anymore. Creator's going to tap out. Bunny's army a bit too scary, a bit too strong. Creator, it feels like, just kind of bled off a bit too much with the Stalkers. It just didn't find the opportunities right away that he wanted, and then kept trying and just kept going. Just overstayed the welcome. Bunny's able to get the army together, move across the map, and scare the Protoss into submission. Onwards now to map number 2. Map number 2 in the series shall be Persephone here. The upper left corner shall belong to the red Protoss. It is Creator. And their opponent here, the blue Terran, no doubt sitting comfortable, confident with that 1-point advantage. It is Bunny. A 1-point advantage in a best-of-3, nothing to balk at. It could all end here depending on what Bunny is able to accomplish. Double gas opener, actually, initially. That is an intriguing choice. We'll see what comes of that. It could be for quicker tech. It could be for, of course, a type of gassier rush than, you know, something with Marines. There's only 1 barracks, though, so I can't see it being something like I want to make a bunch of Reapers. Is it just going to be for a lightning speed factory here? The Reaper goes into production. Orbital is here. Everything looking dreadfully normal. The probe gets in here and chooses violence, as probes tend to do, with completely unprovoked too. Just walked in, looked at the front door and was like, you zap. It's like the joy buzzer type of toy. It didn't really hurt the SCV, more just kind of annoyed the nuisance here. The Reaper's gonna come out and put a stop to any further joy buzzer shenanigans. The probe already long gone, though. Factory is coming up. Still, okay, he laid off the gas a little bit now, both literally and figuratively. Just going for, I guess, a quicker factory. Still dropping the natural at the place in relatively close time. The Reaper testing that front door. Scratching the shields on the pylon will quickly regenerate, though. The Stalker more than enough to keep a single Reaper at bay. Sentry, follow-up, I like it. Give me some hallucinated phoenixes. Phoenixes. Phoenixi. Oh, 3 Reapers, 2 Hellion opener. The Threeper play, yes. Bit of an interesting choice, I would say. That, of course, I talk about this, I feel like every time I see this opener. Originally, the standard TVT type of opener. Discovered it could be used against the vile foes that wear the Protoss flag. Get a bit of damage done. Potential hallucinated Phoenix trying to follow the Hellion. It could go for a bit of damage here. The Reapers, looks like he's gonna try to jump up into the main, but it's a bit tough. The Reaper wall-off's actually pretty decent. Yeah, that's a problem. Yeah, that's why they do that. Yeah, Reaper wall-off. I normally don't usually advise most people to make it, but in this case, this is going to work out beautifully to help out Creator. The Reaper's still getting into the natural. 2 probes picked off. Did we really already lose one of the Hellions? I think so. The battery's going to help out. 2 of the Reapers and 1 of the Hellions fall for only 2 probes. That is not nearly what Bunny was expecting or hoping to get out of this. The Reaper wall-off proving to be a fantastic choice for Creator in this move. Keeps the natural door open, lets the Stalkers do their thing, the battery even helping out. Picking off those early couple of units meant nothing could really get one shot, so the battery's going to help out. We've got the 2 mine drop again, although I'll say the first one didn't really get to come to pass. Bunny pulled it back home, helped out with the defense. Creator handling it fine so far. Handling it as well as you can. Only losing 1 probe per mine. Creator. This is feeling very different so far from our first one. First map, Creator kind of bled himself into a bit of a tough situation, into that loss. This one, though, losses have been minimal. Gonna test the front door with some of the Stalkers here. Bunny appears to be going for a similar type of thing, a triple threat. I see +1 attack on the way. Still working on the extra barracks, I would wager, for stim and shields. And just 4 Stalkers getting a bit of damage. Even picking off the Marines, too. Siege tank will set up in the mineral line. These Stalkers, they do have blink. Could try to get out. Only losing 1 Stalker. Again, not too bad. Hellion, Widow Mine, follow up. Not finding the opportunities still. Hellion. Where'd the Hellion come from? Was that one of the original 2 Hellions? Yeah, I'm gonna say so. Actually keeping one of those Hellions alive just long enough to make for a comedic relief factor in the Widow Mine drop. Okay, total losses here. Gosh, he's only killed 8 probes. I'm not sure that's going to be enough to really stop Creator. Creator's getting that 3rd base up and running. Has been applying a lot less pressure, I will say, but that is something that can work out totally fine. You then have your army to deal with the Terran's army. This matchup, it feels, really is a bit of it's on the Terran to get the damage, to find the opportunities. The Terran is the one that usually has to slow, stop, or halt the alternative factions, of course. Zerg and Protoss respectively have their macro mechanics to leapfrog and catapult their economies into the late game. Terran, though, they hit their timings a bit earlier. The stim, shields, and +1 kick into gear. You gotta leverage that advantage. Gonna go for a double drop. Why run when we can fly, lads? Yes. And fly right into the Warp Prism. Hello there. And if you look out your right, dear passengers, you will see a Warp Prism. Marines are like, let me at him. Bunny did not. No, Bunny did not care, apparently. How will the prism then be defended later on? Stalker's already in position. Medevac goes to half health before anything is even dropped. That's not going to be too good. Zealots find their way into the main base, causing zealot-shaped fires. The prism. Got to be a little careful, I feel, with those Widow Mines. Medevacs did eventually get to drop some of the units, and it looks like pay the price. One medevac suspiciously absent from this here. Zealots still causing damage, still causing some havoc here. Army contends outside the Protoss' base. The Widow Mine starting to burrow. Not finding their shots just yet. The Immortal doing the best they can, actually holding really strongly. And the Zealots still just barely gets the warp in before the Widow Mines take out the prism. Bunny not wanting to fool with it. Wait, hold on here. Bunny tapping out because we're losing on both fronts. He kills the prism here. Just barely gets that prism. So the Zealots are still causing their damage. There's a decent amount of defenders here, but the army on the other side has been flatlined, along with, of course, 24 SCVs. The Zealots looks like they will eventually be cleaned up, but the age-old at what cost? So many workers have fallen, nearly a 2 or 3 to 1. We'll call it 2.5 to 1 lead for Creator's economy there. Bunny sees it. Bunny knows better to just give him the win and get us into a grand finale. The series is a best-of-3. The score is 1-1, which means we have ourselves a grand finale here. The map shall be Tokamak. The Protoss of the series shall occupy the upper right corner. Give it up for Creator. And Terran players, let me hear you roar. The bottom left, the blue command center. It is Bunny. Terran roars ensue. Yes, Bunny, the fierce, the ferocious, the bloodthirsty Bunny. We'll see. We'll see who is the aggressor, who goes for it. I'll say we really haven't seen a whole lot of like a major back and forth with this. It's really just kind of been decided in the first few minutes. Creator kind of, like I said, map number 1. Creator kind of blundered himself into a tough spot, into losing against Bunny's push. Second game, Creator took major credit, so you got to give credit where it's due. Hit the brakes substantially and was able to keep enough things alive, halting the army attack and getting some damage done on the other side. The Zealot Warp Prism, just think how differently that would have gone if Bunny had stopped the medevacs and taken out the prism. No prism makes those last 2 minutes of that game look very different. Could Bunny have, gotten the prism? Creator was watching, of course. We're not entirely sure, but even just a little bit of damage onto the prism, making it have even just a little bit of hull damage, a little bit of health loss, could have made things a lot easier, could have made things a lot different. We will see how the story unfolds here in map number 3. The factory on the way. Tech Lab is the choice for Bunny. Really switching things up. I like it. Okay, is this going to be for a quick Cyclone then? Cyclone to hold down the defense, perhaps? I'm waiting. I want to see. I think it's going to be a Cyclone. Yeah, it's going to be a Cyclone. Okay, very good. Not lost my mind just yet. On the other side, likewise, a very different setup. That is a Stargate coming up for the Protoss. So not going for what I would call the standard Twilight play that we've seen in the last couple of matches. instead going for a Stargate. Is it Oracle or is it Phoenix? Phoenix. Okay, as long as it's not Void Ray, we're fine. Because Void Ray would make for a much more interesting conversation, we could say. A viewer game. Now we know it would have been a Void Ray, but pros do it a bit differently. So we're seeing Phoenix come up. Could be then the Phoenix Colossus type of play. We'll see how quickly the Robo follow-up is, and if it's not going to be a Robo, then quite again different conversation. Twilight will make me raise a bit of an eyebrow there. Drilling Claws spotted from the tech lab on the factory. Bunny's gonna go for a bit of a scarier Widowmine play here. Now, Drilling Claws, of course, surface level upgrade, of course, makes those Widowmines burrow a lot faster. They do their business a lot quicker. They are much harder to pin down and stop before they get their shot off then. Much more difficult for things to get away. We saw Creator handled the initial mine drop in map number 2 beautifully, for lack of a better word. Only losing, one probe to each of the mines as good as you can have it, really, without maybe getting into the Stalker Blink trick. But nonetheless, we say 1 probe per mine, perfect, totally fine. That's non-issue for the Protoss. Phoenix are the choice, though, and Phoenix, I will say, shut down these drops rather well. Can go for the medevac, of course, could pick up the mines. Also, Phoenix are not one-shot by Widow Mines. They get quite low. Take a lot of damage, sure, but they're not killed off, which sometimes is enough to get a bit of an advantage. Behind this, looks like Bunny's going to try to switch into the more normal move. Drilling Claws completes. Do we have an armory? We do have an armory. These mines are going to be as powerful as they can be, but up against Phoenix, they don't even get the opportunity. The medevac is destroyed, the mines completely denied. That's not good. That's a no bueno for the Terran. Losing all three mines and the medevac for nothing. Yikes. That's pretty bad. Phoenix, like I said, they shut this down hard. It was a fantastic choice for Creator to do this. Even they started to burrow. Okay, Creator lifts them in the time it takes them to Drilling Claws burrow. Really? Are you kidding me? The medevac trying its best to keep up with the Phoenix harassment. A few SCVs picked off. More importantly, the medevac is lost, which is going to cause a bit of trouble for any future attack. Yeah, of course, he can just remake the medevac, sure, but those new ones aren't going to have the type of energy that the old ones would have. They have the time to build up their energy. The Colossus part of the Phoenix Colossus combo on the way. +1 attack. Thermal Lance extended, as all Thermal Lances should be, am I right? Where are observers? We've got one with the army, one just outside. Okay, so neither is really set up to keep an eye on Bunny's attacks. Speaking of, speaking of Bunny's attacks here, Colossus got the Phoenix lifting the Cyclones. This composition really is just quite good, quite annoying to deal with. The Phoenix lifting everything up, you suddenly no longer get the value from some of your more special units, as the Terran, like siege tanks, cyclones, widow mines, apparently. Suddenly things become a lot more annoying to deal with. You're left to kind of with your basic units. You got a lot of Marines and Marauders, sure, and you still want to make some of these special things for the Phoenix to have their targets. Because if they don't have their focused targets, then they're just going to start picking up Marines and Marauders, and that's no fun either. The Observer helping out quite handily. Medevac's picking everything up, dropping into the base. The Phoenix hot on their trails, though. God, Creator is just in a commanding position with this. Taking such minimal losses. Bunny having a tough time at every door, every opportunity. The Phoenix quickly make their way over to the left side here. The Colossus a bit slow behind. Colossi looks like they're handling the main base. Stalkers, sentries, doing okay so far. The cannon's unpowered, rather decorative, but I don't even think it's necessary. Good grief. Bunny just being deflected at every corner. Every opportunity shut down. Where are the Colossi? The Colossi heading out now. Like, okay, that was unnecessary. The style points creator going for picking up the lone 2 Marauders left behind. Bunny sees the army, says, I haven't gotten any damage done. Just the losses have been mounting. Bunny not going to be able to shut down the attack. We wind up with a rather speedy grand finale. A whole series, really, by extension. A rather fast day, I will say. Nonetheless, entertaining, enjoyable to go through. If you enjoyed, be sure to let me know in the comments below. As always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a great day.